Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And Shotzzy, it seems, was hitting new levels last night in some scrims up against the Seattle Surge, but also ahead of the first official rule set announcement for the CDL rules for 2022 into 3. We may have the leaked map set returning. Some pros aren't so happy about this hydroelectric one. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that. Also, thank you very much indeed to any of those who tuned in to the Breaking Point Next tournament over the last couple of days. Yesterday's NA1 was absolutely spectacular. We had some great moments. Honestly, I was really impressed by the support that you guys were giving the stream and also the quality of the stream as well, and what we managed to achieve, the boys that were putting this on behind the scenes with a relatively limited budget and resources, putting on a broadcast that I thought was significantly better than what I've seen a lot of the times, certainly in the early kind of CDL online days, and pretty much anything else so far. So really great time and loads of great storylines as well, because Thieves was giving some extra love here to Doug Santa Martin. This also to note the Lackman sub, basically the MP5. Hicksy was starting to use it. I think Exclusive Ace and others have basically stated this can be the best SMG in the game. The pros as yet don't seemingly see it quite that way. The Vaznev is still the one being used, but there's definitely a place I think for the Lackman, and yeah, okay, the Vaznev is probably what gets used still for now, but yeah, this MP5 was still getting used, a pretty decent effect by Hicksy and the like. Even this I thought was pretty funny, the graphics guy put together here. Maybe Roosevelt built this actually for, well, Doug Santa Martin, unfortunate stuff. He almost made the finals. I was hoping if Doug made the finals, it'd have been pretty fun because, you know, Doug in finals, there'd have been a good storyline around that. But as it turned out, the Boston Academy lost in the losers finals to Hicksy and co, but they actually had a good chance to beat the eventual champions here in Exceed's team. They played them, they beat them game 1 here because Beans just went crazy, and then Beans did this on game 2. 1, 2, and then just completely spins on Game Economy. I don't know what he was shooting at, to be honest, but yeah, Beans was the standout player I thought of this tournament. We couldn't give him the MVP because he didn't make the finals, but damn, and this guy is still in Europe, I believe. There's some have said that, yeah, the high ping of Europe actually helps you right now, but Beans is the Boston Breach substitute. He's the guy that we talked about, you know, the fat Dashy, the EU Dashy, whatever you guys want to, you know, so he's had some nicknames over the last couple of years, especially last season because he was dominating, and already he had some crazy highlight moments. This was my favorite one of the entire tournament, to be honest. Like, this was an impossible 1v2 situation. He ran out of bullets in his Vaznev, 8 seconds on the clock here, 1 versus 2, can't plant the bomb, really has no time, didn't even have a pistol, so we had to pull out the sniper to try and get this kill. He was hitting some nice snipe shots as well, has to reload his Vaznev, comes around the corner, destroys Dave Paddy, and then completely destroys Gravity as well. Like, those shots to snap back onto that were crazy. He's not even an SMG player. So yeah, and that was done on 100 ping. Now people say that, okay, the ping and the lag comp, right, everyone always says this, that ping can sometimes be a disadvantage, but sometimes it's not because you get the lag compensation works in your favor over a certain level. Dunno, but still, Beans is obviously a talented player, and I'm sure that Ziddy is shaking in his boots to some degree, just because, look, Boston Beans is the substitute player. It's going to be a surprise to me if Beans doesn't get a chance in that Boston team. I'm sure that Zed and Dens were watching this tourney and seeing that Beans is putting on a show. This guy had like a 1.35 KT. They did come third though. They got knocked out before the grand finals, and it was Exceed's team that ended up winning the grand finals. Exceed, Joe Deceives, Assault, and Diamond Con. Joe Deceives, we believe, is going to be the LAG substitute going forwards. The standout for me probably was Exceed here in this tournament. Joe Deceives is putting on a show as well though, and Assault's always going to have good numbers. Diamond Con from the New York team a couple of years ago. This is probably right now the scariest team in Challengers. The team that lost to them was Hicksy's team as well, Dave Paddy, Gravity, and those guys. But it was a great tourney, a deserving winner, and yeah, Exceed walks away with the MVP as well from the North American side. Let's talk then about the rule set, which is coming out soon. So Panda's team was not in this one, but as he said, so we have a cup on Saturday. So very soon indeed, the Challengers circuit is beginning. Already there's a Challengers Cup going on soon. We don't know the official maps. What is the plan for that? Will they be confirmed soon? Monday, that's today, version 1 rules will drop a relatively short order, and as Crone kind of confirms here as well. So what's going on? What's the rule set going to be? Are they going to have anything crazy, wacky, or is it just going to be what we kind of expected to be with the map set that we have been seeing? But the map set has been evolving over the past few days. The first few days of this game, the Crown Raceway was a very popular map the pros were playing, but I believe it's been told to them that, yeah, that's not going to work, right? That's not going to be a map that's playable because of legal issues and the like. Now, the hotel map for now is okay, we believe, until after Major 1, Dashy has kind of hinted that hotel's going to be gone. So Hotel, Embassy, Mercado, Fortress, and Hydro is coming through. Now, the pros are playing this, and we'll see a clip on it from Scump here in a second where he was throwing the Toronto guys. But, yeah, look, honestly, the map set, it could be worse. It will be worse when Hotel is gone. That's the one to me that actually plays pretty well and looks good. I just wish they hadn't copied and pasted a real life location and had just used some inspiration from it so we didn't have any of these legal troubles. But, you know, Infinity Ward doing what they do best. Embassy, though, like, okay, there's drama about that, whether it's good for hardpoint, just because the spawns aren't always great. Mikado literally has 7 hardpoints. It's pretty tough to watch at times. There's one that's in the top of the building and there's one that's in the bottom of the building. I'm like, why does that even need to be a thing? That's still a thing. But the pros have got to play it for now. And Fortress as well is the ultimate spawn trap dagger map. Like, you can get spawn trapped to no end on that map, which I think is honestly going to make it quite entertaining to watch from a competitive perspective, because no lead is safe on Fortress from what I've seen so far. The Hydro map, less familiar with it though, because it's just been brought in the last couple of days. But this is what Crone expects the map set to be. This is what, based on scrims, what we've seen the last couple of days, it probably is going to be. And it's basically the same for Hardpoint and Search and Destroy, with the exception of aBeZy coming in as the S&D map. This, to me, it looks almost like, I don't know, I think it plays okay. It's a bit messy, the middle of the map. I saw some people describing it as, it looks like the final circle of a Warzone map, the way, like, you know, it plays out at the end of some of these rounds, which is true, but it also kind of gives me these COD 4, like, Vacants type vibes. I think it can be okay. They're playing it for Search right now with the other maps as well, so we actually have 5 maps in Hardpoint and Search that we believe they're going to play on. Whether the rule set they announced today is actually adapted to what the pros are currently playing, and obviously the pros don't like all these maps, but in part it's maybe out of necessity why we have to play some of them, right? Because, I mean, the last year we had 4, it wasn't good. We really need 5 to make the map set work properly, and hopefully if we can have these 5 for Hardpoint and Search, then we can actually bring in another alternative. I mean, Control as well, that's one of the big question marks to me, because Control will be played, it is the 3rd mode, that's the confirmation. Last season, right, we had Tuscan and we had Gavutu, the start of the game. It was a really messy first couple of months, because the team that was the higher seed could choose to ban any of those 2 Control maps, right? Gavutu was an AR map, Tuscan was an SMG map, so whatever their team preferred, you just ban out the other one and you get not exactly a free victory, but you get a free map that favors you. Give a pretty big advantage to the higher seeds in the first part of last season. So apparently we'll be playing Hotel and aBeZy. We don't really know, aren't sure what the 3rd Control map's going to be. They've played a number of different maps and not really sure what actually plays particularly well right now. I think they've tried it on Hydro and these other maps as well. So yeah, not sure. Hydro as well is just like, it's water all over the place. It's a bit of a mess, but if the water was gone, I think it actually could play all right. Reminds me a bit of Dig from Black Ops 2. I don't know if you guys remember Dig from Black Ops 2. It was a DLC map. Kind of gives me those same vibes, but still, this is apparently the map set we'll be running with going forwards. Not clear, but still, somehow we have more maps than we did last year, but the quality of the maps might not be quite so good. If Crown Raceway was here, I actually think we have a decent map set, but with it not, it's not looking particularly good. Now, as Slasher says, aBeZy, I'd rather go dolphin diving into the water on Hydro. So he doesn't like the aBeZy map at all, and some are suggesting it's good, some are saying it's bad. I think for Search and Destroy, it's actually okay. Playing it for Control, though, not so sure. The pros have given it a go. Some reckon it's okay, some do not reckon it's so okay. So differing opinions certainly right now within the pro scene. We'll find out later today what the CDL have decided to do and whether they've adjusted these last couple of days to Hydro becoming more popular in the professional side. Let's talk about some scrims then from last night, because OpTic were not streaming them. It might be the final day ever a couple of days ago where Scump did stream them, so I'm going to share another clip here from Scump's stream because it might be the final time we ever see Scump actually streaming his practice. But yeah, last night Pred and the Seattle boys were playing OpTic, and this was like an absurd clip here from Shotzzy. His face, I didn't even notice it at first, but like the fact that Shotzzy dives looking left and you can see his face kind of fly by is just hilarious to me. And Pred is mind-blown at what he's saying here. Like, this guy Shotzzy flies past so quick you wouldn't even believe. No reaction time at all. Eventually he does get the assist on this kill, but I mean, yeah, this is just Shotzzy going rogue again.
I'm holding top maps. What the f? What are maps? What are maps right now? One shot. Dude, and it's tweaking for that.
I'm fast, boy.
What the f?
He's
on the left ledge. He's on the ledge.
Dude, he's on time. What's water? What's water here? Right here.
Then we fought right here. Oh my god.
I'm looking up left.
Got 3. Top. I hear that.
Top.
Wait, I bumped it out. I need it. He's in the window. On the bridge, one shot.
I'm literally stuck.
Oh, he's on the dot. Hit.
My god, I'm pissing. I have top. I'm literally
Middle,
in new.
Middle, yellow top, one shot.
Dark out. What's dark?
We got me.
Yellow scrap, 1 HP.
Yeah, I'm one shot. Yeah, he's going bigger. No, he's going front.
Yellow?
I spawned God head. He's in there spawning.
But it does seem like the OpTic guys are starting to find their footing a little bit. We've seen the last couple of days that OpTic, they got a bit of a delayed start, right? Because the likes of Surge and Rokkr and FaZe and even Thieves, they started scrimming rather early. Vegas is another good example of that. OpTic a few days behind, so it took them a few days to catch up, right? And of course, the guys have got to get familiar with the game, how to play it, and the meta evolves so quickly. Just watching the European Breaking Point next tourney to the North American one, the way that some of the maps play is vastly different, especially in the Search and Destroys. I know this is Hardpoint, but in Search and Destroy on the aBeZy map, the different regions already had very different ideas on what the meta was, where you should be, how you should set up, how you should play your defenses, stuff like that. It's the same thing in Hardpoint to some degree. No one really knows as yet what the best setup is for certain situations. They might have a good idea, but how to break, how to rotate, how to set up for Hardpoints. This is a question that will continue to be evolving over the year. So very early days, and one small patch update to change something, make Mikado, 5 hills, not 7, already makes a big difference in how things are going. But I think that OpTic were definitely showing up last night because Surge have been one of the stronger teams so far. They won this scrim set 7-3 in their favor. Look, they played 10 maps here. They played everything we just looked at twice through. They played Fortress. That was a split between the pair of them. OpTic won both of the hotels, actually, first and second, relatively comfortably. They split the embassies and the hydros, and actually OpTic here won both of the Mikados, which has been kind of the map they've been struggling on so far the last few days. So decent signs for everyone at the moment. And also just to mention some of the numbers here that came out of this particular map, because I believe this was the one that Pred was absolutely mind-blown what Shotzzy was doing to him. And yeah, eventually the KDs aren't anything spectacular, but Dashy's 32 and 20. iLLeY tops the leaderboard as well. So, of course, just one scrim. And unfortunately, Shotzzy wasn't streaming, so we didn't get to see his POV of that. But this guy is absolutely cracked out of control. I think the question is, if he can just rein it in when required, then that's when OpTic can become a really scary team. Because if Shotzzy throws his life away doing stuff like that, then, well, look, I'm sure it's going to happen from time to time. And when it's on and when it works, I'm sure, incredibly well. Few comments here quickly, just on that map that we saw, the hydroelectric map, which definitely has some questions. It was the first one there in that Scump clip I shared. As Arcitys says, I got Michael Phelps in the water breaking our points while backstroking, and the worst part is I can't see where he is on the minimap, right? So that is one of the big concerns. You can't even see him under the water, and you certainly can't see him on the minimap because, yeah, the red dots do not exist. We'll discuss that a little bit more later today. Quick comment as well on what the rule set might be, just because Hitch is running this, 130 health tournament, I believe, later on tonight. So he reckons this might be working. The issue is, as Merc says, that the headshot multiplier is so high that it might not actually matter anyway, even if the health is a bit higher. So, as Joe says, even with 130 health, there's going to be some crazy kill cams. Those multipliers are no joke. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if this works well, then the CDL might have to change their mind kind of quickly on what they do with the CDL rule set, because Hitch has got a few ideas of how they can make it a little bit better. And just to mention this also, Boston versus New York, one of the most difficult teams, in my opinion, to place how good they'll be this season. They won this scrim set 6-1, and they actually won the first 6 maps, I guess, here before they lost the final Fortress. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.